With me today is the Diane Irwin.
Why do you keep saying the?
Because you are. All right, so because this is basically a 2-in-1.
Okay.
And I love that about this interview. I've been looking forward to this. 2-in-1. Because not only am I sitting down.
What do you mean by 2?
Well, and I'll show you. So not only because I'm sitting with a representative, the president of the Tyrone Area Chamber of Commerce. I am also sitting with, who's also, coincidentally, a part of almost every other organization that's ever done anything in Tyrone.
This is my saying, it's lack of kids.
Yes, right. But I'm also sitting with a someone that's been recognized for their efforts, the Hometown Hero. 2021 is when it was given to you. So that opens up, on a personal note, just a really cool interview. So I feel like I'm getting a 2-in-1.
Well, I was also inducted with the Elks at one year, and I don't remember what year.
Oh, okay.
For my work in the Tyrone area too.
Were you really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I did digging on you, and I didn't see that. Where the heck is that?
Oh, that's been a while. I would have to look at my plaque in my office. But I was a member of the Elks at the time. I was just joining the Elks at the time, and they were honoring people around the area, and I was one of the ones blessed to be honored.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's really great.
Yeah.
All right, so first question I have for you, we're going to talk about the chamber for a little bit.
Okay.
As president of the Tyrone Area Chamber of Commerce, what do you see as the chamber's main role in the greater Tyrone community?
When businesses are looking to establish or locate to the Tyrone area, they go to the Chamber of Commerce, see what is available to them, what the town has to offer, and also seeking funding for their adventures, and usually the Chamber of Commerce has most of the answers for that. So I think it's just the individuality of Tyrone that gets everybody attracted. So I'm happy to be a part of it.
Do you know, there is and this is what brought me back into Tyrone, because I'm from here, born and raised, technically born in Altoona, but we don't talk about that. So raised certainly in Tyrone, finished college at Penn State Altoona, living in Tyrone while I did that. Moved away. I came back home because of 6 years I was away. I moved back home because of the relational culture, realized just how rare that is.
Right.
It's so exceptionally rare. And you don't appreciate the events. You don't appreciate there's Diane down the street. You say, yo, until you don't have it anymore.
Right.
I didn't have it for 6 years. I'm like, I don't want to live that way.
Well, to see, I'm kind of the opposite. When I started working in the Tipton area, that's when I became looking and seeing what Tyrone had to offer.
Yeah. Came
down attended some meetings, got involved, because our business didn't have much of a community. It didn't have enough employees for enough community atmosphere. So I started looking into seeing what Tyrone had to offer, and being that close. Tipton's small.
It is.
There isn't much in the Tipton area, but grew out, and the Tyrone Chamber of Commerce was Tyrone area.
Yeah.
So it takes in a great deal of Warriors Mark, Bellwood, Tyrone,
Members in Pinecroft too, I believe, right?
Pinecroft,
yeah.
And all over. So it's a surrounding atmosphere in here. So that kind of, when I started working there, kind of looking into the different activities that were presented in the Tyrone area. I believe at that time we weren't a member of the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
But we were a member of the Altoona one because we did a home and garden show up there. So kind of getting to know the area and what was having to offer. And I tease everybody by saying, I'm an implant. I'm an implant to the area, because they'll say, oh, remember when in high school it was this? Yeah, no, that wasn't me. I'm an implant. I came along later. So, but I'm learning a lot more about the Tyrone for the years that I've been here. So,
well, how long have you been here?
It's been about 33 years.
I was gonna say, you've been here a while.
I started working for Bob Connor in 1991.
Okay.
So, and I was traveling up and down the mountain for several years before I moved down to the Tyrone area or Tipton area. So
Sure.
yeah,
So speaking on the relational aspect, but also as the resourcefulness that the chamber offers the members, I started my business life when I lived in DC area. This would have been prior to me coming back home.
right,
About 2 or 3 years before I moved back home. So I brought my work with me.
right,
And I've been a part of many different chambers of commerce. Tyrone Chamber was the only one I benefited from because I'm not big.
right.
I'm a small
right.
fry. No one cares about what Dave does, and sometimes
Well,
that's
it's
great.
not only that; it's
know.
just I think we get more personal, and when you get on a bigger
It's hard to do that.
line, it is hard to
Yeah.
socialize with some of those people, and that whereas now we're working with people. There's a couple courses we had, like what QuickBooks program and stuff like that, that we're able to offer to some of these. We were talking about we used to do lunch and learns.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you'd come out for an hour, you would learn, have a topic of conversation, and then you would learn maybe insurances or what you feel, you needed to do. And one was the QuickBooks program, and everybody was using the QuickBooks, but a lot of them didn't know the aspects of QuickBooks.
Sure.
So we had a lunch and learn to introduce some of those and ask questions about some of those programs.
It's kind of a nature of the beast. The larger something gets, the more the smaller people, not
Yes.
people, but entities get they slip through the cracks.
Right.
Because you're offering to your capacity what you can do for those who are larger,
Right.
because there are more resources needed. Tyrone is very unique in this, in that when it's more relationally founded, it's very difficult to have that happen, especially if we live right next door to someone who
Well,
works
you're
with the chamber.
influenced by the bigger
It's a
businesses.
close knit.
Yeah, we're not so as big as some of the companies that are in that area, and that we're a low key,
Sure.
maybe just a 2-person operation.
Yeah.
And that's where, you seek the advice of other people in your area, and you're able to help other people out. So,
Yeah. So we have so many community events,
yes.
many of which are organized through Tyrone Events and Promotions, which you are heavily involved in,
Oh, yes.
and have been for a while.
Yeah. Very.
This is one of the chamber's committees. How do you see these events? How do these events come together? Because that's not easy.
Oh, no.
But also, what do you think they achieve for the community as a whole?
It gets to groups to be working together. Lately, we have been like the Irish Heritage Festival coming up.
Yeah.
There is so many diverse sections, and there's only so many people on our committee
Right.
that can do that. So you go out to offer, like the race series will be having their races, and they're brought on. TIG is going to be part of the cookie crawl.
Right.
And so we have to have all these organizations to maintain and be able to handle all of it. 6 people on our TEP committee can't do everything.
Sure.
We can help to organize it and get people together. Like we're working with the Church of the Good Shepherd. They're going to participate in it. We're hoping Tyrone Colonial Courtyard participates. The race series has gone on. Entertainment. Now we're more the planning of the event.
The facilitators.
Yes. And
Yeah.
everybody kind of connects in, and where they can help, they can help. So that's where we're kind of the leaders in getting it organized, but we need help from the community and people outside to get things organized.
The race series, is that the Adam Zook?
Well, it's part of the Adam Zook, yeah. Chad Hunter mainly does it up, but they do the Gold Rush.
The Gold Rush.
They do the Neptune Fire Company has one now.
Right.
And these aren't in order, believe me.
No, understood.
They are helping the Huntington Library out. They just did that last year.
Yep.
They have the zombie race for the library.
That's fun.
Yes,
That's
and it's
a
at
fun
Camp
one.
Anderson.
Yeah, I love that.
It was, I encountered it first time, and it's amazing what you
We've
can do up
sponsored it a
there.
couple years in a row, or not main one, but
Right.
one of the sponsors. We love it.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
It's fun watching them and the enthusiastic with it.
Yeah.
So, so that committee does a whole lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they are up to 6 races a year.
Yeah.
And they all going to different sources.
Right.
I mean, they have funded the Tyrone Library, the Huntington Library, Camp Anderson has benefited from them. So each one of these organizations go to help out the community.
Right.
So they help to benefit the community and make it a better place. So.
Yeah. And I love how Events and Promotions being, I want to say, and correct me if I'm wrong in any of this, I want to say it's the original committee, or one of the original committees from the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, because the Irish Heritage has been going on long before I was
Yeah.
here. Alice Mulholland and her
Yeah.
crew had it, and they still come back and help out, like
Yeah.
Church of the Good Shepherd. They do our worship service,
Yeah.
and stuff
And
like
it
that.
makes all the sense in the world for a committee like that has long standing and members that have been there for a while to be the facilitators,
Right.
and to help that out. And it's,
You have to have one person to do it, to facilitate it, to get it
Yeah.
organized and
Yeah.
get the advertising out. But it
Yeah.
makes it so much more when the community people come and help
community
us.
events, it takes more than one person to
Oh
make
my
one.
God.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
One might even say it takes a community to have a community event.
One person used to said to me, we used to do Dog Days of Summer.
Oh, right.
We used to have that event.
Yeah.
And somebody came up to me and said, well, when are you going to have a cat day? And I'm going, when you organize it.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Someone once told me, this
So-
was years and years ago, someone once told me, he's like, if you see a problem or something that needs done, don't complain. Chances are you're the one designed to do it.
Well, designed to do it or bring it up to a group or an
Yeah, right.
organization
Yeah.
and take it into consideration.
Right.
There are people that out there that have the great ideas behind so many of these.
Yeah.
And as much as Bill Ashford talked about the balloon release, that was the biggest thing in town, and everybody,
Yeah.
just the crowds of
Boy,
people.
did we get national coverage on that one. That was so.
Yes.
But I remember.
But for many years, nobody said anything
No one.
that we had done it and stuff like that. But it just,
Visually, it was
Yeah.
stunning every
oh
year.
my gosh.
Every year.
I had a stack that fell out of my folder of the pictures from
You have
that
the
corner
pictures?
park.
Do you really? Oh, no. I love it.
Yeah, they were made into
Postcards.
postcards like,
Oh, really?
oh yeah, I'll get you one.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
But it's just from that corner park, just the,
Speaking about events, Yule time, the Christmas event, we kick off. Oh my goodness, I liken it to it's my personal Super Bowl of the year.
Yeah.
Like I love it. The entire I don't know what it puts me in that Christmas mood. It's not Christmas until I see the tree lighting, until I see the parade, until I see the cookie crawl, until I see
stars lit
the
up.
stars lit up. I was on the street when the highway department was starting to take down the decorations. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
They're like, I know, I'm sorry.
That time already?
No, it's like it's already kind of mid-January. We got to do it.
And we're always rushing between Veterans Day and Christmas because
Yeah.
you don't want to take the Veterans Day banners down,
Right.
because they're honored to Veterans Day, but then you got to rush to get the Christmas ones up. So it's always a big rush in between that time. But we managed to get it done and help. Well, we help the borough wherever we can,
Yeah.
and then we started decorating out Washington Avenue
With the wreaths.
with the wreaths and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So
And the wreaths are put together by the Women's Club. Right? Yeah.
Mhm. The Women's Club of Tyrone sells them to make it kind of a uniform, the town.
Yeah.
You see these green wreaths with red bows on them hanging everywhere, and I just think that gives you a sensational feeling going
Yeah.
around and
No, I
doing
love it.
that. So we kept trying to figure out going down Washington Avenue what we can put there that wouldn't blow off from the trucks and everything
Sure.
or hit any trucks and that. So we started putting the wreaths out that way and made it nice part of that to extend out the area.
Yeah,
So.
well, it's a gateway in a town, so it sets the mood, and then you go downtown, and then you see all the lights, and it's a kind of a neat gateway.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I love that every
Always
year.
try to increase or add something onto it every year. So
Sure.
we did up here by the Railroaders Museum. We put a tree up there, a light tree,
Yeah.
and then we do luminaries up there.
Boy, that was really well received. This
Yes.
year especially, I had, being on council, a number of messages in the positive. It's like, this is gorgeous.
Yeah. So
It really was.
we kept saying that we needed a tree or something as you're coming on Pennsylvania Avenue, and you need to see.
Even in the distance, you can see.
Yeah, you can see that, and it
Yeah.
made a really impression of town. Whereas you can see all around town we're doing it, but it just that straight lead into.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Because that was nice to see that up there. I don't want to move where the tree, the community tree is now, is a perfect place. You know, but that visually being down the street over by the museum, right over here, I suppose.
Yeah,
Boy, that's nice.
that was the first year we did that,
That was
one.
nice.
We tried to put a real tree up there,
Didn't work.
and it kept blowing over.
It's a wind tunnel up
Yeah.
this way.
Yeah, yeah. So we came up with that idea, and the borough helped us to put it up. So it was another addition to our Christmas space.
So you may have already answered this question, and if that's the case, that's totally okay. How does the chamber help attract new businesses into Tyrone, and what impact have you seen from the recent additions? Because there have been a number of new businesses that have come into town, like not a small number.
No,
Yeah.
no, we have a many that are coming up or just open up, and I always love to see on Facebook wherever it says we're going to be opening in February, and you see all the people's comments and that to town. The Painted Bucket, which will be coming in February.
I'm talking with them next week.
Okay.
Yeah, they're going to come in and talk
They're
about
going to be
what
in
they're doing.
February. Alchemy. They just opened up, and they seem to be doing fairly well. So I mean, it's nice to see all these additional things coming to town. You know, so.
So do you feel the relational nature of the chamber, the approachability is what it actually, that's what it is the other chambers of commerce, it was difficult that I was a part of. It was difficult for me to engage with because they weren't
even for
as
them to
approachable.
find places for their small businesses to be. And that's the one thing that the chamber kind of keeps an eye on, who's moving out, who's moving in.
Yeah.
And, you know, they can recommend places to them to go or to inquire about.
I'm on council currently, and I still call Rose in the office. Say, what do you know about this, or what's available with this? When I get questions, sometimes I redirect over to the chambers. Like, they will know.
She is the route
they
of
will
everything.
know. You know, I can tell you a theory. They'll tell you fact.
And Rose knows a lot of people too from her years in the community and that, so she can downright tell you.
And I think that's a testament, I think, largely to the chamber's approachability and accessibility,
right?
Which is not always duplicatable the larger you go.
Right.
That's what I've come
and
to
how
appreciate.
many people actually know the history of their town?
Yeah, right.
Whenever so many of them, and I'm not criticizing them. This is just something that Tyrone is very rare in doing. You have somebody that knows the history of town, has been with and that's a lot of, I mean, even when you did Bill Latchford, he has how many years? On council and
25 as council, and then now 8 as mayor. Or about to be 8.
So it's knowing the people have been here and stayed here. They know some of the history. The museum here, Bob Dollar coming back. You know, knowing the history of town and bringing that all to light too is fascination. I got to commend the historicals. The train visualizing, because I watch, and I tell people, you know, you can watch the trains.
That's been a really big hit. So for, if you don't know this, the Historical Society, we just put on a live streaming capability on our YouTube channel. I say our. I'm on the board. Right. The Historical Society. So that's been running now since, I want to say, the summer, spring or summer, and the amount of train fanners, they're called, they rail fanners, they'll come in. It's been just through the roof.
come during the summertime to my office.
Oh, are they right outside your office?
They are right outside because the Tipton used to have a train station right across from my office.
Oh, okay.
And that's where the train station in Tipton was.
Oh.
And so, but if you heard the Barnum and Bailey train coming by or anything, you started seeing all these people coming down to watch that train come through Tipton.
Yeah.
And just, you're just not like, you're sitting there like, what's going on?
So we were having one of our interviews was with Mark Ickes from Explore Altoona.
Yes.
That was a phenomenal conversation.
Yes,
I love that
I
guy.
watched that.
And one of the things he brought up was how attractions like Fort Roberdeau, for example, people go there. Well, there is a center of activity in downtown Tyrone. So when they're in this area, there is and they're actual people come here to eat. They come here to shop. They do these different things. The live stream that the Historical Society has put up, a number of those people have come in and said, hey, we're starving. Where do we go eat? And Mark and I were talking about that. I was like, yeah, OIP Bake Shop was mentioned by them specifically. Like, where's the bake shop? Because they research Tyrone. They figure out what's here. We've benefited
there is
greatly.
Even the train that came from Bellefonte.
That's right. Yeah. And coincidentally, the day they came in this year is when Tyrone City Brewing opened for their first opening.
Yeah.
And a number of those folks that came off the train went down there and got cans of beer. So they benefited from it. That was not planned, but it was kind of like, wow.
And we wish we would have known more because we have done. Now, we used to take the train out of Tyrone to Bellefonte for Christmas, for their Victorian Christmas.
Did we really?
Oh my gosh, yes.
When did that stop and why did it stop?
Well, because the trains didn't have access to the tracks for the longest time.
I see. Okay.
And then the condition of some of the trains and that. But Rose used to organize those trips.
Is that something
and
we could do
used
again?
To go. We're working on it, but it's hard to get the trains up to the standards they need to. And then Bold Eagle Rail, I think, has control of it.
I see.
But I remember the one year my girlfriend and her two kids and I, and my boyfriend at the time, rode to Bellefonte on it.
That would be so fun.
Oh, it is. It's hysterical. And you spend a day over there. Then they'll say like 4:00, we're heading back to Tipton or Tyrone. And then you have to be at the train station to get on the train and to come back to Tyrone.
That would be so fun. I would do that.
Oh, it was fun. My husband didn't like it. He said, rickety old trails.
Oh,
and all
no.
this. And it's like, but that's the fun of it all. And having the kids there too. And then you can go up to Bellefonte and walk around Bellefonte. And that was their Victorian Christmas.
Yeah.
So all their activities, you got to be part of.
I love Bellefonte. And I used to live in State College briefly when I was in college for like a year or two. But I've never been to Bellefonte during Christmas, and I feel like that would be a similar experience to coming downtown here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And why don't we bring a train down Friday evening when we have all of our fests?
Why not? So this is a great lead-in.
Yeah.
Are there anything, or is there anything new and exciting being explored or developed by the Chamber right now that you can talk about?
Always have ideas coming up. We never know what's going to come out of somebody's mouth.
Sure, that's true. Well, so Lights in the Park was an idea that was tossed around by the Tyrone Improvement Group, of what I want to say.
Well, it was...
It was organized in 2 months or something like this?
Well, yeah, this one was. Yeah, I mean, it's been talked about several times, but it's to get enough people involved in it and get it. And Tyrone Improvement Group took the bull by the horn and did that, and tremendous turnout and everything for that. So...
Oh, we loved it.
Oh, I know.
We loved it. We went through it twice. Because our kids were sick during that time. We got that flu that was going around, so they had fevers and whatnot. When they were well enough to at least ride in a warm car, we went and did that. And they talk about Christmas in the park.
Yes.
Christmas in the park. They still talk about it.
And being the first year
not bad
was,
at all.
And Tyrone Events and Promotions was one of they had a pavilion, plus they did one playground.
Was that the one with the train?
Yes.
That was my
the
favorite
train
one.
coming out.
No, honestly, that was my favorite one because every single one of the displays, it had detail and workmanship put into it. Like there was ownership.
And that was the white trees
I
around.
thought yours was everything was beautiful. The events and promotions with the train, that was classy. That was just. My wife loves that style, so she's like, "Oh, that is gorgeous."
Yeah.
You know, that
and
is
then
just
we did
gorgeous.
the playground, which was mainly the Nutcracker theme,
Yes,
and stuff like that. So yeah, we had those two projects to take on as Tyrone Events and Promotions. So that was a great opportunity to do that.
Also, per my wife's request, I have been asked by my beautiful missus, which, let's be honest, she's the boss. You know,
I met her. Yes.
Yes, she's and rightfully so. She's cute enough to do that for me. I'm happy to be bossed by her. Plus, she's smart, so it works in my benefit. I have been told that I need to figure out a way to get involved in events and promotions again, because she always has felt that that's one of the things I should be doing. She recently told me that. So now it's on the record for her request. I am actively seeking out how to do that. I need to do that, yeah. So Joanna is going to school here soon.
Oh.
The moment that happens is the moment I'm there because I drop her off and I can.
I have a couple people that have told me that Lindsay from Dance Fusion is the same way. You know, until your kids get grown up.
So we were in that. I was a part of events and promotions briefly,
right?
And then on council and a number of other things. I was on the chamber board for a little bit. I think I was vice president at my peak. Maybe. It was so brief. Remember. Well, you were there. You were secretary.
I was secretary for many years with them, and then they surprised me last year
with the nomination for president. You're like, why did you just do this to me? You know.
Wait a minute. I thought I was being nominated for secretary again.
Oops. But so kids came along. Grayson is what took me out of the chamber board because I just didn't have the time. Emma came around, and then work skyrocketed because of COVID. Now it's a different scenario. This year, starting in the fall, all of our kids are in school now.
There you go.
So now suddenly, okay, great.
Yeah.
So
and we have plans that we had things before, like I said about the dog days of summer.
Yeah.
And that everybody said, why did it stop?
People.
We not, you only can do so much in a year time and where you want to have it.
Because there's a bunch of other entities also doing events in town and you want to promote them. That's the whole point.
Right. Exactly.
And so we only have so many days in the calendar that we can fill because we also have to be considerate of the fish rodeo, for example, that Taco puts on, and then any other events that happen.
Right.
So
you got to fit your schedule into those. And the big thing I'd like to see more of, and the borough has taken on more activities with the Labor Day picnic.
Sure.
I mean, I'd like to see that increase. It fell off for a while.
Sure.
And I would like to see that become bigger and better.
So it was picked up recently again in its infancy. Am I right in saying that? It needs to. It's not what it used to be.
No.
But it could be.
Yes. It could be. Yes.
And
it could be.
Why shouldn't it be?
And I think we all blame COVID because you couldn't be around each other for so long. Yeah. So I think the lack of communications and everything that everybody had, it did put a damper on a lot of things, and trying to recreate it.
Yeah.
After COVID, like the Irish Heritage, I always say we started COVID because we had our Irish Heritage, and then everything dropped off because COVID went big time into effect. But then the next year we ended it because we made ourselves have the Irish Heritage Festival.
I don't know if you remember this, but it was right after the pandemic. Because I think you're right. The first event was Irish Heritage.
Yes, it was.
And you were helping direct traffic, I want to say. And I came over to you and I said, Diane, I miss this. It was like it was hitting something because the thing that brought me back home was gone for a year and a half or so. Because it in many cases it had to be.
Everything stopped and you couldn't do.
And it didn't feel like home anymore.
Right.
And it's so quintessential, Tyrone, to be that hub of activity.
Right, exactly, and have things going on. And you know, you see so many other places that don't have these activities going
Yeah.
on, but we became recognized for that. And
Yeah.
it continues on, and it's the group that, you know,
Yeah.
but for 1 year you couldn't say, because we really debated heavily about bringing the St. Patrick's Day celebration back
Yeah.
after COVID, because you're thinking, but it is an outdoor festival.
Yep.
You can keep your distance. If you
Yeah.
wanted to wear your mask, you could wear your mask. So
Yeah.
we proceeded on with it
I was
and
so
just
grateful you
said
did. I was
that
so
it
grateful.
needed something to kick back up, because everybody was, I was ready to sit in my chair, go home and sit in my chair, so used to it that you just didn't do
Yeah.
anything because you couldn't go out. Meetings were all canceled. You
Right.
were either Zoom meeting or just emailing each
Yeah.
other. So we needed something to kind
And
of.
then 4 years later, we're so grateful you kicked it back up, because now we're back in the groove again.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
So I want to move on a little bit.
Okay.
But before I do, I want to make sure that this is also public record. And this isn't because the boss told me, it's because I want to say it. Dang it. So I've been on council now for 8 years. This will be my 9th year.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have been 9 years since I started thinking
Working
about the
and-
idea. Yeah. And that's how I met Rose.
Yeah.
I went down to the chamber because that's where you go.
Yep.
You know, I went down to ask. I think I met you there too.
Probably.
Around that same time. Was it you? It was Rose and who else did I meet? I met someone else.
I was going to say Joyce works in there.
It would have been Joyce.
Joyce, maybe?
Yeah.
Or volunteer.
And I was asking questions, picking brain, like, how do I pursue this, or how do I do this? I want to do this. Is that a good idea? Even,
Yeah.
you know, not that they knew me from anyone, but it's like, you know, is this a good idea?
Right.
And I learned very quickly, very, very quickly, how integral the chamber is to community life
Right.
in Tyrone, even before I was elected.
Mm-hmm.
Or even appointed, because I was appointed a few months after that.
Right.
But even before that happened, I started to see pretty quickly just how integral it is to everything that takes place. That's a value.
Well, the chamber,
And-
everybody would come, even the different
Yeah.
organizations that were formed. They went to the Chamber of Commerce, ask advice, ask,
Yeah.
you know, what we can do to contribute, what would be our best way of promoting
Yeah.
our business to do this. And so that is a hub of our
It is.
community.
It might even be the hub of the highways.
Yeah. But that is where you wanted questions answered. That's usually where you got
Yeah.
them, or she would find out.
Well, so,
You know, so-
so the reason I bring this up, and this is not a political maneuver in saying this, I'm not running again.
Yeah. I
So
heard.
I've announced that I'm not running for re-election. I want to focus more on this.
Yeah.
And I can do that better if I'm impartial.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but this is me saying it just as a matter of fact. Thank you. The chamber, you, as well as Rose, as well as everyone that's been
Yeah.
involved, because Rose is a face in many ways because to be the director,
Right.
but you're just as involved as I've seen it. You know, Joyce is just as involved as I've seen it. Nothing happens without everyone being involved in some level.
Exactly.
There is so much that we have that I love, and it's because of you. The chamber, you individually,
Yeah.
Rose individually, the chamber as a whole. So I don't want this to go any further until I just say thank you so much.
Oh, well, greatly appreciated. I do it because I love to do it. And I was always involved with community activities, whether it was here or up in Asheville where I
Yeah.
was raised. And it just, it was always a part of me. So when I came down here, the business wasn't involved too much community-wise. And
Yeah.
it just took that upon to get to know the chamber, to get to know what activities are going on
Yeah.
around the area, and highlighting things that I'd like to do.
You can know you know that I was being genuine. I was choking up there for a minute. But there just is. But moving on from that.
Yeah.
Let's go to the second interview with the Diane Irwin.
Okay. 'Cause you keep
Let's talk
saying,
about you. All right.
oh, talk about
Yeah,
me.
the thing that you're most comfortable doing.
No. Okay.
No, I understand. No,
Yes.
that
Yes.
no one really is.
No.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
especially if you're in a service role like
Yeah.
you are.
Right.
It's like there's a reason why I'm behind
You
the
kind of
scenes.
stay. I'm one
Yeah.
that I'd like to stay in the background, and if
Yes.
I
Yes.
and big thing that I do with Tyrone Events and it's like, Sue, why don't you handle that?
Yeah.
You're good with the media and stuff like that.
I like to
I'd
do
like to
this.
set up.
We
I
all have
like
our
to do,
lanes,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
You know.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we all
So
have our duties to perform.
so we talked a little bit about it already. I think before we hit play, before we hit record, we talked about it too. But let's just ask it: what inspired you to get involved, to get so involved in the life of Tyrone's community? Because let's face it, you're in everything. Oh, and if you don't mind, let's
Yeah.
talk about what you're in.
Oh my goodness.
How you doing? Or maybe a shorter conversation is what aren't you in? Because I know you're in Events and Promotions. You're the president of the chamber, which is
Yeah,
but you're also involved in Camp Anderson.
big time. Yeah.
And what else? I mean, I don't want to miss anything.
Oh, okay. Qantas. Lately, that's my newest venture.
I'm being recruited.
It's a great opportunity.
I like it.
I didn't know a lot about it, but you've got to learn about some of these
Yeah.
and what they do. And most of them are youth oriented.
And that's why I like the idea of
Yeah.
doing it. I think I'm trying to, does it fit in my schedule is the only thing I'm
Right.
looking at.
Right. And it's all youth oriented. And Camp Anderson is that way.
Yes.
I mean, everybody still refers to it as a Boy Scout camp.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a Boy Scout camp, but we encourage the Boy Scouts and we sometimes sponsor the Boy Scouts.
Sure.
Like they will be out there in May for their spring camporee.
Yep.
So we have like we have a little shop that they can buy candy and desserts and stuff like that, and
Nice.
food and that kind of stuff for some of the parents that want to stay out there.
Yeah.
Now this year, and I can't take credit, Cummins, McNitt, and Mike Yetton are the 100-year anniversary of Camp Anderson, since Camp Anderson has been around. Not the Camp Anderson Corporation, but Camp Anderson was formed
Right.
100 years ago.
Wow.
So we are going to have a celebration in August celebrating that. And
We should be there for that.
you should.
That'd be awesome.
Yes, I think it is August the 2nd, if I can remember
I'll
correctly.
mark that down. Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely want to be there for that.
So we are now in the midst of getting that and arranging demonstrations, and I'm learning a lot about Camp Anderson because, like, again, I wasn't from this area.
Sure.
Which most of the leaders in there have been Boy Scouts, Cub Scout leaders, or Boy Scout leaders, and all that. So they're teaching me a lesson. But I'd love to go out there during their camporee and watch the kids incorporate and learn some of the things they learned at camporee. And you get a big, rude awakening of what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I just like overly impressed. Now this year we went up in competition. Some of the women got on the gear, and they were doing battle of the buckets.
What is that?
Where you take the hoses and you move the bucket past a certain point in a rail.
Oh,
you do it
sure.
at fire.
Yeah.
So jokingly, some of the women of Camp Anderson got together and went against the Boy Scouts, which usually in the freezing cold, it wasn't real. But, it's fun things to anticipate and to participate with the Boy Scouts in doing some of their projects and seeing their brains and their ingenuity of doing things.
Yeah.
And it was quite, I love going out there for the weekend and watching them do that.
So what other committees and organizations are you a part of? Camp Anderson, the Chamber and Events and Promotions, Women's Club?
Women's Club. I'm president of Women's Club.
You're president of the Women's Club too.
Yeah.
Can we have a three-way conversation? That'd be awesome.
Yes,
and what
I'm
else?
president of the Women's Club. Kiwanis now. Oh my gosh! Now you got me on. That should be about it.
Is that it?
I think. Is there? I'm Tyrone Improvement Group. If I'm available and I can help out, I will help out.
Well, you're also a business owner too.
A business owner.
Connor Heating and Cooling. That's
heating
you.
and air conditioning.
Heating and air conditioning. That's you
That's
guys.
part me. Part me. There's two owners in it.
Okay.
And I just became a landlord.
That's right, because you have rental properties.
I have that whole corner
Yeah.
lot.
So you got a fair bit on the personal side happening. But so personal side, all these committees and organizations that you're part of, and through events and promotions, you help facilitate things. And at the chamber, you help facilitate things for all the
Right.
organizations too. So you're kind of directly or indirectly involved in literally everything.
Yeah.
What got you interested in public service to begin with? What is it that keeps you coming back and telling people, tell me what to do. How can I help you? You know, because you don't have to do that.
Well, I think it started out when I was married and living in the Asheville area. I became a member with our Asheville Volunteer Fire Company.
Okay.
And I was a secretary for them, again, for many years, for 20 years.
Wow.
I was a firefighter. I was an EMT with them.
Okay.
So, but
didn't
my
know that.
career, no, not too many people did.
Wow.
But I was born and raised in the St. Augustine, Glendale area, and it came a family of 12 kids. So,
Wow.
and then I married and I lived in Asheville for about 20 years, but then I took working in Tyrone, in Tipton, and so I was traveling up and down the mountain for many years working for those jobs and stuff. So then I just became that I moved to the Tyrone Tipton area, and I kind of took away from that now because I can't go up there running and all that at the time. So I just became involved in all the activities down here. So
Yeah. And you mentioned, you know, in lieu of having no children, why not adopt an entire town? Or not even a town, a region.
Well, we used to sit on my front porch in Tipton and watch the neighbor come in from work, go out, come in 15 minutes later, go out, and we just sit there and say, yeah, we don't have to do that.
We don't have to do that.
But
and you're like,
you envy it something, you know, because and I know I work with Rose and go into her grandchildren's things, and I go with her to some of them.
Sure.
You know, it's great to watch the youth of our community. And so it's just something different aspect for us because we don't have to be anywhere any certain time.
Sure.
So
yeah.
that's kind of why I put so much effort into some of the organizations that I work with and who you work with.
Yeah.
You know, I'm very, with the Chamber of Commerce now, we are doing a Business and Career Expo.
Oh, when's that?
It's in October of every year.
Okay.
Now, when I first started with the Chamber, we did it out of the bullpen.
Okay.
And it was businesses would set up. Now, the kids weren't involved, but we would have the labor force and everybody could come in, see the businesses in town and all that. So then we ended up taking it to the school. And we would set up in the gymnasium every October.
Okay.
We would get businesses to set up, show the kids what they do, what their products are that they do, any volunteer organization that wanted to set up. And the kids would have the school periods. We would lap kids in every so often. So we did that, and the kids learned to know about the businesses in our town.
Yeah.
So then now we have a crew that it started up to mainly more encourage the kids and get them to know the businesses. But in the same aspect, we have business owners that are from our area, outside of our area, and we have like what's called a breakdown session. It's teaching the kids how to do resumes.
Oh, nice.
What about social media? What do you need to know about social media? And various topics. And we have people from our community that come in and teach those sessions.
Nice.
John Russell has been head of that and has incorporated, and even through some of these programs that people get to know the kids, that some of the kids they have hired.
Yeah, right.
You know, on a temporary basis or on a
internships,
part-time.
etc.
Yeah, and offering internships to them. So that is another aspect that we had added to it.
That's great.
We had Steve McKnight from ABC Core. He was like a guest speaker
Was
of
that
there.
last year?
Yes, that was in October.
Yeah.
And then John from Reclamaire.
Yep.
Was a speaker at it. We've had Jeff Long in previous years and all that. But
Jeff
bringing
is a wealth of knowledge.
To saying this is what our community has to offer. So many people are wanting to leave town. There's nothing in town. you
hate
know, and
that.
all that. Yeah.
Boy, I hate that.
And so this is just teaching the kids and how, you know, your part is and what your community actually has to
Yeah.
offer you. But we also want to get you started on the resume writing. You know, not very many people know about resume writing. How do you handle your social media?
That matters.
And that really has a rude awakening on some kids that they,
Yeah.
you know, because now employers are looking at your Facebook page.
Speaking as, yes,
Yes.
when in our hiring process,
Mm-hmm.
we would do that. We
Yeah.
would look at the resume. We
Mm-hmm.
would look them up online.
Right.
How do they interact? What do
Yep.
they? How do they talk about their previous employers?
Mm-hmm.
About their peers?
Right.
Because they'll do that
Right.
in your work environment to your work environment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that
And,
matters.
and there's people that don't aware that your employers will look at that.
Oh my.
I had a friend that worked for a healthcare system, and she said the same thing. I can't socialize with you because your Facebook's page is not what,
Yeah.
you know, so you got to
Yeah.
know that that affects
It does.
some of your, you know, in the long term, you don't think it does.
Yeah.
But this is what you learn. But it also, we bring in colleges for them to look at, to understand what the colleges. This past year, we brought in a lot of our nonprofit, like the race series.
Yeah.
We brought in Camp Anderson, because now the kids have to have so many hours of community service.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
these are activities that we can get the kids involved in
Right.
that would benefit the nonprofits
Camp Anderson would be
organization.
amazing for that, I would think.
Right, right. Now,
Wow.
we do have a lot of Boy Scouts that do their Eagle Scout projects
Sure.
and things out there to help us on some of the things that are going on. Since it's a corporation, they are now allowed to do their Eagle Scout projects.
Okay.
When it was a Boy Scouts, they weren't allowed to.
Okay.
So now since it's incorporated, they have brought many projects out to Camp Anderson. So, and every year we have one or two at least that are working for their Eagle Scout projects. So, you know, so it's telling these people that we have all this in our town.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to go, you know, because they're all rushing towards the end of the year saying, oh, I need 10 more hours of community service, you know, and it's
Yeah.
like, we have so many of these things that you can go and volunteer your help with.
Yeah. More on you.
Okay.
You were like, be gentle. You were named hometown hero in 2021. It was very well earned,
It
by
was
the way.
during the COVID.
Yeah.
During the COVID, we didn't name any hometown heroes.
Right.
And then collectively after COVID went out, we started, because we did that as a project every year.
Right. Yep.
And then COVID kind of like, okay, we can't get together to do this, you know.
Yeah.
So then we recognized for all those years that.
What does that recognition mean to you and for the community as a whole?
I'm honored to be, because like I said, I'm the implant, you know, and for somebody to be an implant into the community and be honored on that way.
Sure. It means you've done a few
big
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice to be recognized for some of the things, but knowing that I'm not from
Yeah.
the hometown, but to be named that is quite an honor. I was honored to do it. I kept saying, but I'm not a hometown person. How can we, you know? And they said, well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You've done these activities. You've been here. Well, like I said, for 30-some
Yeah.
years. So I participated in a lot of the activities and got to know people.
Yeah, and you mentioned the most recent recipient because he's involved in Camp Anderson, which is Come as McNitt. Now, another worthy inclusion.
Oh, yes.
By the way.
Uh-huh.
And because you whispered in my ear right prior, and it happening at Yuletime event, the tree lighting was a great idea, I thought.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to, it's another thing, I don't know if that's going to be a common thing, but that was a neat idea.
Well, we do it once a year, but our timing, because of some of the events, and we usually try to get them at breakfast, but there's some people we know that doesn't come to breakfast at 7:30 in the morning. So we try to,
Well, and that's because of kids.
Accommodate that, yes.
Yeah, because we're dropping kids off at school,
Right.
and then that's why we haven't been there.
Exactly. You know,
Yeah.
so we do it when it's accommodating to the people to be
Sure.
there and some of their friends and family to be there to recognize them. And it just happened that everything we get involved with, you get so attached to doing that you maybe forget about that honor at the time. So we had done it, and we knew he was going to be there for the cookie crawls.
Yeah.
So that is what.
No, when you whispered his name in my ear, I was like, hey, I'm about to announce McNitt as the, it's like, oh, what a worthy inclusion.
Right.
That was great. You know, well, to be fair, though, since I've been here and I've been seeing the recipients, I've looked through the list and I don't see anyone who wasn't worthy to be mentioned.
Oh,
you know, it's a really nice list of people.
It is a fantastic list and an honor to be named that. And but you, like I said, you go back and you look at that they're mainly from the Tyrone, or born and raised in this area.
Came in and then here's the list, and there's Diane. That's not true. Every single person there, including you, is very worthy inclusion. I'm very proud of the fact, and I was one of the people that nominated Lori Eckerd.
Oh, okay.
And I'm very proud of that. You know, as I looked at the list, at the time she was on the board here with us.
And she was with the Chamber of Commerce.
She was with the Chamber of Commerce.
And she banking industry, wasn't she in the banking industry?
Yes, I want to say she was, and she worked. Didn't she work in the Herald office at one point?
That I'm not sure of.
Like the old Herald office.
Yeah, maybe.
But in any case, I'm working with Lori, and I'm looking at the list. This is early on in my council tenure, you know, and I'm looking at this. I'm like, holy cow, Lori's not on this list. Yeah. And she every single week I meet with her, and she's telling me something new that I didn't know anything about. It's like, so
well, we asked the community for recommendations.
For nominations.
You know, nominate somebody. They give us some ideas of who or
and why.
You know, from all aspects of the community and how they have contributed to, you know, the Tyrone area. So you ask for their inputs in it. So
and I love that.
We just look and see, you know, and look at the evaluation of them, and that's TEP who does that and offers that award. But it's just, you know, you look and see, and how have they cherished, what have they done for our community?
And what I love about that is that you guys, by opening it up like that, you've prevented it by being a not a boys club, but like a
prejudice.
Yes. Like, and it avoids that conversation altogether. I always appreciated the fact that you had it open
somebody
for
say, well, what did they do to deserve it, or what did they do? Well, you can nominate anybody you want.
Sure.
We take in the recommendations. We look at how they...
You can nominate the dog catcher if you want
to. Yeah. If you think he's valuable enough, we'll consider him, and we have. I mean, there's several nominations that have come in.
Sure.
And it's hard on our part to narrow it down to one.
No doubt.
You know, when you have a community full of active people that do a lot for our community.
And that's another thing too, because the town does have a lot of people who are passionate about it.
Yeah.
And who want to get involved, who are involved.
Right.
Which, going back to what you mentioned, because I've heard the same thing that you said has been told to you, to say that there's nothing here is just a lie. Nobody is this passionate over nothing. So, I love the fact that you have the chamber office downtown, that their hometown hero.
And I'm glad the chamber remained here in Tyrone.
There was a conversation not too long ago about the revisiting of the idea of merging with the Blair County Chamber of Commerce, and I am grateful.
Right.
I'm one of the ones that's grateful.
And we took in all the considerations of the people around us.
The fact that you remained.
And there were people that had strictly made their comments on it, that made us come to the decision of what we did. And it was like, you know, there is no town around here that really has their own Tyrone Chamber of Commerce.
So the Blair County Chamber of Commerce does a lot really, really well. They do a lot for the county as a whole. And I'm very much appreciative of what they offer. Where I think Tyrone Area Chamber of Commerce is different than Blair County Chamber is, and again, this isn't because they don't desire to do this, it's because of the size.
Right.
You cannot be this relational, this personable, this accessible approachable on a grand scale.
Right.
You just can't accommodate that.
Right. And
Whereas
Blair
Tyrone
County,
can
yeah, and Blair
accommodate that.
County goes Martinsburg.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they cover a large area.
It's a humongous
And it's
area.
a big more financial for some of the bigger, you know, like ABC Corps is now involved in that. So,
Right.
so looking for the financial backings and all that, that's a big part of Blair County.
Yes.
You know, so that's kind of an aspect we don't have.
We have a culture
Yeah.
that is much more personable
Mm-hmm.
and down to literally the
Right.
pavement, where we're taking care of our neighbors.
Right.
And that's what community is all about.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we could have, best of intentions, we would have sacrificed that a bit.
Right.
And so I'm grateful that we still have it.
I do agree with that. And people's opinions that came in is what we also looked at, like who advised, or when once word gets out, they all got very concerned
Sure.
and expressed their opinion.
Yeah.
So it was like we didn't do this on our own as a as the Chamber of Commerce. We went out to the community and asked people,
Right.
give us your aspect of it. Would you do, what would you do? What would you consider would be beneficial to us?
Yeah.
You know, and
Right.
so that's why we went with the train.
And you guys are so I want to say the word synonymous. That's not the right word though. You're definitely, you're known for this.
Mm-hmm.
You're not in some back room trying to make decisions. You always
Right.
engage with people first.
Yeah.
Just see where people are at, because these are the people you're trying to serve with the decision that's on the table.
Right.
And I love that approach.
Yeah, and you know, the aspect of some of the parking and that in the area,
Yeah.
you know, we try to be considerate of the people,
Sure.
you know, that are covered with the events, you know, because you could bring people in and there's cars everywhere. You know, you don't have enough parking space
Yeah, right.
for all of them. But we work with them and try to work with the homeowners to say, you know, give them awareness that this street's going to be closed down.
Yeah.
From this time to this time, but it's only going to be closed down that time.
Right.
You know, and try to get it cleaned up and opened back up to the community. But be patient with us. It's an event that's going on that, you know, is drawing people into our community.
Right.
You know.
And you know, get to know it through fire, I suppose. This is what we're about. We're about communing, and we're about
right.
being together. And that involves downtown. And if you're
Right.
downtown, we'd love for you to be a part of it. And
our streets all connect to main streets.
they do.
So
You know,
I-99, we're right off of I-99.
the only town in 99 corridor I have heard recently.
Mm-hmm.
This is through my interview with Ann.
Yeah.
Tyrone Improvement Group. I didn't know this prior. Looked it up. It's true.
Yeah.
We're the only community on I-99 where the off-ramp dumps
Gets
right into
town.
downtown. What an asset.
Uh-huh.
What an asset.
Well,
what a
this
problem,
whole
too, depending on
area-
what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
this area is kind of the mixture between Altoona and State College, too.
Yeah.
I know our Tipton area, a house can't stay on the selling block for more than 3 days.
Right.
It's just the in-between aspect of the bigger cities.
Yeah.
So a lot of people commute from Tyrone, Tipton area,
They
and do that.
The housing costs, even though they have gone up across the board, they've gone up.
Right.
Tyrone has gone up too. I think our house was worth $76,000 pre-COVID, and now it's worth $130,000. You know, and
Yeah.
that's across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Inflation has done that too.
Right.
And but state college pricing, what you get here in Tyrone for $150,000 to $200,000, you get there for $500,000. And so suddenly you're realizing we have the budget for this. We work over here. We have those resources. What's been great though is some of these folks are buying property in Tyrone because of how cheap it is.
Right.
They have money left over to fix them up.
Mm-hmm.
And so suddenly our property values are going up more because these
Right.
houses are now getting new roofs, new siding. They're getting foundation work done,
Right.
things that a lot of folks may not be able to afford otherwise.
Right.
It's a phenomenal
And it's
position.
nice to see that some of these people are coming back to the community and taking some of these old buildings,
Yeah.
like the Moose building. and what they're
Right.
turning
Yeah,
that
Steve and
into.
Wendy are putting in
You
so
know,
much money to
and then the building right there before the underpass across from it's across from Epworth Manor.
the old garage.
Yeah, the old
The
garage.
Russells and Inspection Go,
And the
they
inspection
took a
go.
whole block and
Right.
reformatted that.
And so it's so nice that they're coming back in the community
Yeah.
and getting these older buildings renovated when
Yes.
most people would think, let's just tear it down.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and that's not what you want to see.
Right.
You want to see more people coming in and renovating. And that's what some of these people that, like you said, were away from town, came back
Yeah.
and saw some of these buildings and taken value of it.
Yeah.
You know?
So we're running out of time a little.
Yes.
I could talk to you, I feel like, all day, and maybe we should.
Never know.
He's like, maybe not, you know. But loaded question
Yeah.
to end it. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Looking back, and you said you have 30 some odd years.
Mm-hmm.
What are you most proud of?
Oh, wow.
That's a loaded question.
Yeah, it's loaded because I'm so lucky and fortunate to have so many friends, relationships that have accumulated over my work here in the Tyrone area,
Yeah.
and being a business owner also. But it's just having the camaraderie that you don't dread going to some of these things.
Yeah.
You know, sitting there thinking, oh, I got another meeting tonight. You know,
Yeah.
it's a community of good friends, good
Oh,
relationships.
I have one more
and we
event to
sti-
go to. Oh, the food's too good.
We always talk about the week from hell, and there's a meeting Monday night, there's 3 Wednesday night,
Oh,
and
no, yeah.
you fall into that, but it's just an enjoyable. It's not one that you want to go, and you're have so many people to talk to from so many diverse areas.
Yeah.
And I can't pinpoint one or the other.
That's
I mean,
fair.
I enjoy
That's fair.
all the work that I do with them.
I feel like
And
you could,
hope I can keep up with it. The
Yeah.
older I get, I'm kind of wearing out a little bit more, but it's something that it's just a good aspect of our town, and trying to get the younger kids
yeah.
to acknowledge what is here and to get involved with things in the community.
It sounds like, and you can tell me you're wrong. Get out. You can tell me that. But it sounds like what you might be most proud of, at least in this moment, is simply the ability to be a part of things and to have that impact.
To still have the capability of doing it and making a difference in the community, and hoping to continue on with that.
So nobody says that who is serving for selfish reasons. Nobody does. And I'm in politics. And I have seen the opposite.
And I probably will never be in politics.
There's a reason. All right. So I did not join on council for what I hope it wasn't selfish reasons. That's not where I ended up anyway.
Right.
It was, there's something so precious here. I want to get involved somehow.
Right.
I want to do my due diligence to make sure my children have the same benefit that I grew up with or that I'm a part of, that I could see here. I want to preserve it.
Right.
And if possible, maybe we can enhance it some.
Right.
And
I see that with the Chamber of Commerce. When I first started to join the Chamber of Commerce, of course, people leave and go and come, and and you're doing a diverse number of people.
Yeah.
And now our Chamber of Commerce has so many people from so many aspects of businesses in different roles in our community.
Yes.
And so that makes a difference with everybody's input into what's good, what's bad. We're coming up with our annual dinner, and that's our one time. The social aspect of our Chamber of Commerce is we get together once, at least once a year, and honor our members and recognize them with a dinner in April. And so we're working on that right now.
We'll be there for that.
Yeah, and there will be so many characteristics. There's young members, there's old members. We have
it's so diversified.
It's so many that want this community to continue on and to do things, and so many role models. I mean, there's so many that have started their own businesses
Yeah.
and involved with that.
Yep.
We have ones that are businesses oriented, so they bring different aspects to the Chamber of Commerce.
Mm-hmm.
So we can encourage them all to do that. And so
Looking forward to that. We'll be there for that.
I'm sure.
Not even with no cameras. I'm going to attend.
Yes, yes, we hope you do.
But-
We're working on that and getting that all together right now. But
The purpose of this podcast was the absolute foundational purpose was to celebrate the things that are worthy in Tyrone, and there's so many.
oh my.
There's so many, and I say worthy of celebration. That's
Well,
what I mean by that.
so when you ran in December,
Yeah.
all those things that you were thankful for, you
Yeah,
know, for all those days and that was something that the community needs to see, or even the social media needed to see.
It's just
that
not. There's so many
yeah.
things here. There's so many things,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole point of this was to do that, and that remains the
Right.
point. And there's a reason why we asked you here. So thank you
Oh, I
for what
appreciate
you
it.
do, what you're going to be doing, because I assume you're going to go straight from here to go work on something, because that's what you do. You know, even if it's just to
Yeah.
eat some late lunch, you know, or whatever, because you kept on going. But thank you very much for everything that you do.
Thank you for having me. I
And
appreciate that.
In general, please extend personal gratitude to the chamber too,
Oh, I will do
and everything
that. Yes.
that they're doing.
Yes. And say hello to your wife for you. I
My
haven't seen her in a
beautiful
while.
one.
I haven't seen her in a while, but
Well, we
every
had
once in a while.
kids, and the theory is she's the one that had them.
I met her while she was working, so that
Yeah,
I think I first met her then.
yeah. And so things are stabilizing now, so we're getting more involved. Kids are in school. That helps.
Yeah.
You know, it helps in some
It
aspects.
kind of coordinates your order of how you can do things.
The life was whirlwind.
Yes.
Is what kids do to you. It creates a whirlwind. And they're now old enough now that, well, Grayson's old enough now that he can go make his own breakfast. So it's like game changer.
I deal with nieces and nephews right now, you know, so it's getting them, and now they're to the age where they're starting to get married. And now it's like I was down in Elizabethtown last week for a wedding, and it was like, okay, here comes the younger generation up. And so
Diane, thank you so much for being here.
Appreciate it.
And
I'll be anxious to see how this turns out.
I think we'll have you back on too.
I'm sure with every aspect that goes on, I'm sure there's always another turning point or something.
We've got to have you back for the women's club. I didn't know you were the president.
Oh, yes.
You shouldn't have told me that. All right.